Single family homes in Calgary did not reach $700,000 in 2023, even though I anticipated that they would. Now we see a decrease, which is signaling a pretty hard stop for the single family home market in Calgary for now. My name's Fyfe, your Calgary Realtor. If you're looking at making a move in 2024, now is the time to set up a game plan and get an idea of what you could expect in the new year, which is now. So the Zoom link is in the description. Let's get into it. Now let's start this off by looking at the total single family price for Calgary, which is $697,400, which is a decrease of $2,100 from last month. Last month we were at $699, and I was pretty confident that we were going to hit $700,000 before the end of the year. Yet we saw a huge decrease, mainly caused by one quadrant, and I'll let you guess what that is, but we will talk about that in the future slides. With that being said, we have seen almost 13% increase from last year, which is $78,000 in 12 months, which is absolutely insane, especially through the market that we've been through from 2015, 2020. This market is absolutely on fire, even though we saw a decrease in price from last month and a stabilization over the last 4. So let's remember that there are benchmark attributes to these things. For the single family home, it's a 4-bed, 3 up, 1 down. It is a double car garage that's attached, 1,500 square foot. It is a natural gas furnace, 5,100 square foot lot, poured concrete basement, and built in 1998. Every single benchmark attribute or price will have different attributes for different quadrants, different communities. So it's very important that if you see benchmark price, that you get the attributes behind that, just to make sure that you have a full picture. Now, let's figure out what the Calgary Real Estate Board has written about the detached market. If you want to read it on your own, fantastic. Pause the video, skip to the next chapter, or you can listen to my storytelling. With an annual decline of nearly 20%, the detached market saw the most significant decline in sales activity. While sales did improve for homes priced above $700,000, limited supply choice in the lower price ranges caused consumers to alternative housing styles. The competition from like $400,000 to $600,000 in the single family market was absolutely insane all year. Despite some recent gains in higher priced new listings, inventories have remained near record lows, and the months of supply have remained relatively low throughout 2023. The persistently tight market conditions have supported further price growth for detached homes, albeit at the lower pace than last year. On average, the benchmark price rose by nearly 8% in 2023, with the most significant gains occurred in the city's most affordable districts, which are technically classed as Calgary East as well as Calgary Northeast. And with that being said, how we have a rose by nearly 8%, it is actually predicted that Calgary will see yet another 8% increase going into 2025. So pretty crazy stuff. Now, let's go look at this chart here. This is a pretty interesting chart. The red line is the benchmark price. You can see that the benchmark price has stayed relatively flat all the way going until August of 2023. So the higher interest rates definitely worked in the market, as well as just the lack of supply in the market, which is causing some of this stabilization. So you can see that the sales have dropped, the inventory has dropped, pretty common in this market. Typically, the Christmas holidays are a little bit slower for this type of market, and we're most likely going to see this just shoot right back up in Q1, Q2 as we get into the spring market. Now, in terms of price, we'll talk about that in a moment. So this is quite interesting. This is the year-to-date outlook for single-family homes across the entire city. Now, when we look at just the October, November, December of both 2022 and 2023, the numbers are very similar. If you look at the sales in both years, the new listings in both years, and the inventory in both years, they're pretty close. When you look at the days on market, it's very clear to see that this year, the days on market's a lot faster, meaning the market's moving a lot quicker. And then when you look at the price points, obviously you can see that we're seeing massive $80,000 increases compared to last last year. So pretty wild stuff when you compare just these numbers. Now, this is quite interesting. So now the end of the year, 2022, total sales volume for the single family home saw $10.3 billion worth of sales. But this year, we only saw $9.1 billion, which was a 11.5% decrease from last year. As it was said in the written description, a lot of people actually moved away from the detached market and they went to the semi-detached and the townhouse market just to get into product. The new listings also fell, which was a pretty big cause for a lot of these increases. We went from 2,100 all the way down to 16,000, 21,000, 16,000, which is about 23% decrease. You can see the months of supply stayed relatively flat. The sales to new listing ratio actually ticked up to almost 78%, meaning a lot of listings actually sold compared to last year because the market was so hot. The sales to listing price ratio was over 100%. The market was very hot. Even though there was many people who had to decrease and try to attract buyers, there were more people that got over 100% list price. So if someone went up the market for $550, wouldn't be a shock if they sold it for $580. It was a pretty wild market. The benchmark price clearly went up by 7.6%. The median price increased by 8.8%, as well as the average price increasing by almost 10%. So very interesting numbers here. If you want to dive into these in a lot more detail for your quadrant or whatever community that you're interested in, it's pretty good to know. So with all of that being said, it's very obvious that the months of supply is still somewhat trending down. We are fairly similar to last year. You can see that the red bar is the trend, and it's kind of trended similar to last year, but if you actually look at the blue bars there, you can clearly see that we're about a half a month less in our peak seasons this year than we were last year. So months of supply is a very good indicator of how fast the market's moving, how much demand is in a current area. So in this graph here, we're just going to talk about the detached market. You can see that places like City Center is upwards of 2.5 months, followed by Calgary West and then Calgary South. So they are a little bit slower compared to other areas, but yet still favoring the seller. There's still, all of these are considered sellers markets. You can see that Southeast, Northwest, and East Calgary are all in most demand at and under 1 month of supply. So pretty important to know the benchmark prices of those areas. Again, all of these attributes are slightly different. So you can see that Calgary City Center and West are fairly similar. And then if you actually look at North as well as South, they're also very similar in the benchmark price. But when we look at this here and we look at North and then we look at South, you can see that there's some differences there. So you can see that North is a 4-bed, 1,500 square foot, built in 2003. When we look all the way down here at the South, it is still a 4-bed, 1,500, but it's built in 1983. So there are some differences between the benchmark prices. Even though they could be similar in price, the attributes could be different. So it's really important to figure out if you have a pre-approval for X and you want to get as much as you can, maybe looking at these attributes and just getting an idea of what you could get in those communities or areas of town for your money. Now, interestingly enough, you can see that this is the year-over-year price growth chart, just a quick visualization of who's seeing the biggest increases. You can see that Calgary East as well as Northeast and Northwest all saw above 15% year-over-year increases. Pretty massive numbers for such a large asset that are over $500,000, 15%, quite a lot of money. So, where does that leave you? I have a AI software, super neat, and I just thank everyone who's utilized this. It spits out an instantaneous home valuation for those who are interested in knowing what their home could sell for in this market. Yes, of course, I will text, I'll call, I'll email, say, hey, how's it going? Thank you very much for utilizing the services. I have a lot of people that are not intending on selling, and that is totally fine. This software is just supposed to give you a quick glimpse of what your home could sell for in this crazy market. We're seeing a lot of people use this 6 months ago, 12 months ago to now, and just how much it's increased in such a short period of time. So it's kind of a cool tool. Go ahead, use it, and let me know what you think. You know, it's very interesting. So this is the microeconomic breakdown for the entire city. So this is kind of where we get into the nitty gritty of things. Not going to touch on a whole lot here, but the first thing that I want to touch on is the average for the total city sales to new listing ratio was over 100%. So when you look at the sales, you look at the new listings, you can actually see that the sales outweighed the new listings, which was 104%, which is pretty crazy. Obviously, in the Christmas holidays, kind of the December season, a lot of people don't really want to list their house. A lot of people might wait until January. Totally fair. But the demand did not slow down. You can see that there was more sales than new listings. So this is the inventory, or the amount of homes left over at the end of the month in those quadrants. This is the months of supply. You can see that East Calgary is still under 1 month of supply, followed by some other quadrants. These are the benchmark prices for those quadrants. Here is the year-over-year price growth, which is an averaging out almost 13% across all quadrants, and then the month-over-month. Now this is where it gets pretty crazy. So I'm gonna actually reveal this now, and we can see, for whatever reason, Calgary West dropped by 3.26%, which was $28,000 in 1 month. So there was 47 sales and 48 new listings. So the sales and new listing ratio was almost 100%. So the market was moving, but I don't know what happened. I would have to look at all of the individual sales and see just how many homes sold under their list price, or how cheap these homes sold, to drop by $29,000 in 1 month. Absolutely insane. The month before, they increased by $6,700. So I'm not sure what happened in Calgary West. I really should look into this, but they have decreased so much that it dropped the total city percentage by 0.3, and then they also prohibited the benchmark price for the entire city to reach 700,000. Even if they were at 0% or dropped by like 1%, Calgary total benchmark price would have definitely hit 700,000. But a drop of that magnitude is insane. You can see that the other two decreases were Southeast, they dropped by 5,000, and City Center, they dropped by $1,800. No big deal. It's kind of normal for things to go up and down, especially in this market. But what we're used to seeing is places like Calgary Northeast increasing by 77. You can see Calgary Northwest increasing by 58. And you can see Calgary East, the most affordable, $482,000 for a single family home, increased by $12,000. So pretty crazy stuff going on here in the market. I really should have looked up the sales in Calgary West so I could use these examples. So if you are in Calgary West and you want to know what's going on, reach out to me. By the time you watch this video, I will have looked up what happened, and I'm all for it. My contact information is along the bottom. Shoot me an email, let me know that you're curious of what happened in Calgary West, and I will do the research now and make sure that I can send that off in an email in the future. So what's going to happen in the Calgary real estate market? We're starting to see a dip. I think it's pretty normal. We're seeing a small slowdown in the market. This is pretty common for the holiday season. 2024, we are expected to see some increases year over year compared to this year. With the amount of demand coming into Calgary, with the lack of supply in the market, I would imagine we're going to see increases. Are they going to be 5%? Are they going to be 8% like some people are talking about? Or are we going to be up in the 10%? Very, very interesting stuff. All you can do is watch the videos, plan ahead as best as possible, book a Zoom call, ask questions, and figure out how this market can benefit you, if at all. So thank you very much for everyone's support and kind words for these videos. If you have any questions, please reach out. Contact information is below. Phone call, text, email, doesn't matter. Better yet, book a Zoom call. So thank you very, very much. We'll see you on the next one. Happy New Year. Peace.